Hello, everybody. Today we are here with Melanie Gillot, a singer, songwriter, actress, and voiceover artist from Los Angeles, California. So I'm very pleased to welcome. Hi, Melanie. How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me today.
Uh, we are so glad to have you today. First of all, let's start by talking about the beginning of everything. When did you fall in love with music?
Well, I've been surrounded by music my whole life. I come from a family who plays instruments or sing. Both my parents play instruments, and my sister is also a musician. So very early on, I knew I loved music, but it wasn't until I went into a local music store where I grew up with my mother one day because my mom plays the piano. And so she was stopping by to pick up some sheet music. And when I went in, there was this woman giving a voice lesson, and it just looked like so much fun. And they were singing, Disney songs and things that I loved. And they were just laughing and having a good time. And I was like, oh, what's that? Like I asked my mom, like, what is that? And she was like, oh, that's a voice lesson. And then I guess because obviously I was really little when that happened. I was about like 4 or 5 years old. And I guess my mom, she told me that I wouldn't stop talking about it for a very long time. So my parents thought, oh, our daughter has an interest in singing. Maybe we should let her try it, like let her have some lessons. So I went and I took lessons, and I haven't stopped singing since. And, I when I first started singing, I would sing, Disney songs. And then eventually, as I got older, I got more into musical theater. I was singing harder music. And then it wasn't until I moved to LA that I really decided that I wanted to start focusing on more contemporary music because training wise, I was singing classical musical theater songs. I was singing, songs from Phantom of the Opera, My Fair Lady, songs like that. And then
Yeah.
so I was very much used to singing in a certain way, I guess like more operatic because I'm a soprano. But then I kind of shifted gears whenever I moved to LA, and I got with my voice teacher, Angel Hart, who really just made me fall in love with pop music. So
Oh, wow, it's complex. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, it's time to make your musical project, your currently musical project.
oh, thank you
How
so much.
how you started?
My style. So I would say I really want to write uplifting music. A lot of artists that I listen to, they write songs that are very uplifting and are relatable, which is why I write a lot about, my personal experiences. So I would say that my songwriting is authentic, and I'm just unapologetically myself when I write my songs. There's not a moment when I'm writing a song where I'm like, oh, I don't write music because I want to be, famous on TikTok, or because I think that's going to be a #1 hit on the Billboard chart, or because I'm going to win a Grammy award, like, which all those things would be it. That would be amazing if that happened. But um, there's never a thought in my mind when I'm not like writing music because of those things. It's my truth whenever I write my songs.
Oh, yeah. And Melanie, now let's talk about your creative process. Do you have any magical place where you find inspiration when you compose your songs?
Yeah, so like I just mentioned, a lot of my songwriting is based upon my life and my personal experiences. And I think what's so magical about songwriting is that every single time I write a song, it happens in a different way. Either I'm thinking about something that happened to me in the past, or I'm going through something currently, or even with my latest release, Everybody Somebody. It's crazy because I just start like how that song came about is because I was humming it in the shower. Like it
Oh,
just like came to me out of nowhere.
oh yeah.
I just, yeah,
Really
like
well.
I just started humming in the shower, and it was stuck in my head. So of course I'm like, oh, I gotta like write this. And I have a very bizarre sleep schedule. I don't sleep. Like I really don't. And so it was like 1:30 in the morning, and I started humming this in the shower, and I got out and I was like, man, I have to write this. And I wrote it all night. I wrote that song in one night. I started at 1:30 in the morning and I didn't stop till about like 5 a.m. because I wanted to get it done, because I was like, oh, I don't want to forget this. Like, this is really good.
Oh,
So
yes.
24/7 living music.
Living music,
Yeah.
thinking in music, all music. And Eric, the new single.
And now you just released a new single, of course. Everybody is Somebody, a very motivational song. And how was the recording process?
So the recording process for this, it went really well. And actually, I ended up recording it twice because the first time, like, it did go well. And it wasn't that the song was bad or anything, but I realized that after listening to it the first time it was done, that there were some things that I wanted to change or rework. And I often find myself sometimes when I'm in the studio, I'll even rewrite the songs as I'm, recording because I'm like, oh, that's such a great idea. Or, maybe my sound engineer says something to me, or and we collaborate. All my songs, like I love collaborating with other people. So yeah, I would say with this song, I ended up recording it twice, and because I had a different idea for it. And actually, originally, when I wrote the song, I had intended for it to be more of a ballad. I had this idea of having it be more piano, just very like simplistic, me at the piano singing the song. But this song just means so much to me that I really wanted it to have that uplifting tone in the track, because I feel it's a very uplifting song. That's at least that's what I intended for the song to make people feel like, because everybody goes through things, and I wanted people to find comfort in knowing that everybody's somebody, including myself. Like, I'm going through things, everybody's going through things. And so I wanted the track then to meet that message. That's why I have it more upbeat. And it's like kind of one of those songs that you kind of do this, like you like put your head, you're like, oh yeah, like it's like a dance, like kind of like a dance song in a way, because you're like, oh yeah, you're vibing. So yeah, so I reworked it a bit, and I'm really proud of it.
Okay. Well, it's time to share your music with people. Could you introduce your new one?
Yes. So I'm so proud and so excited to share with you my latest single, Everybody Somebody.
Go. Are ready in 3, 2, 1, go.
Today, someone had their first kiss. Someone out there is being missed. Ran a red light or got dismissed. It's okay. Someone met their soulmate. Lost a lover, had their first date. Fell in love or fell for a fake. When the world feels colder, creeping on your shoulder, don't give up. We've all been there some days. When the world feels colder, creeping on your shoulder, don't give up. Everyone feels the same. Everybody's somebody, so think about what you do. Every day ain't the same, it brings something that isn't new. Everybody's somebody, don't know what they're going through. Somebody like me, or somebody like you. Somebody like you, or somebody like you. Someone got in a fight, begged for one last chance of goodbye. It's so unfair, someone out there is having the time of their life. When the world feels colder, creeping on your shoulder, don't give up. We've all been there some days. When the world feels colder, creeping on your shoulder, don't give up. Everyone feels the same. Everybody's somebody, don't know what they're going through. Somebody like me, or somebody like you, or somebody like you, or somebody like you, or somebody like you, or somebody like
Yeah, wow, beautiful,
It's
Melanie.
perfect to listen the first thing in the morning. When I get
Somebody
up,
like me,
I feel high. It's
somebody
perfect.
like you.
Motivational.
Da, da, da,
Yeah.
da, 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 da. Congratulations, Melanie.
Oh, thank you so
Beautiful
much.
song.
Yeah,
There's
we do like
somebody
it.
like you. Yeah.
Yeah. And the next question is about your goals. Do you plan to go on tour, recording new songs, or something else?
Well, I'm always writing new songs. So I've been working on that. That's first and foremost. The songwriting is very important to me, and I'm always like, I'll just in the middle of the day just write something down, or I'll be, standing in line at the grocery store and something comes to me and I'm writing it down, or yeah. So definitely new music's on the way. As far as touring goes, I do plan on performing at different venues this upcoming year, next year. That's my goal. And as far as doing a tour, I would say that if I were to have a tour, it would most likely be summer of 2024. And I do also at some point in time in the next year or so, whether it be like a year or 2 years, because I know that there's a lot of planning when it comes to touring. There's like so many things you have to think about. But I do at some point in time want to do an international tour because a lot of my followers are from other countries.
Yes.
Yeah. We heard you in Canary Island, maybe
For
one
example.
day.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
In a
Oh, yeah.
Euro tour.
But in your musical and acting career, how do you prepare before each performance to connect with the audience?
Yeah, so I found that singing and acting, everything kind of intertwines within itself, because whether I'm writing a song or I'm acting or I'm singing, ultimately what I am is a storyteller. So I would say that as far as getting ready to go out on stage and perform, I always make sure I'm warmed up. If I'm singing, obviously vocally, I need to warm up. I always drink tea before and after. And I always try to, if I have time, because obviously time and everything, I always like to take a hot shower before I go to perform, especially when I'm singing, because of the steam that could help me my voice. And I also, another thing I just started doing, even with my acting parts that I play, I always do a physical warm up, because I've found that when you're able to move in your body, then because your body and your voice and it's all connected. So you have to make sure that you're well prepared.
Wow,
Well,
interesting.
yes.
Mention. So, like you mentioned before that, you like collaboration. Which artist would you like to share on a stage or work together on other musical projects?
Well,
Wow,
sure
good question.
there's so many artists that inspire me, but I would say if I had to pick one, and this is an artist that a lot of people love for the reasons I'm about to say why, and that is Taylor Swift. Yes, I've been inspired by her since she first started. I've been a fan of her since 2006 when she started doing country music. And in a way, I feel like I kind of grew up with her because I've seen her evolve throughout her career. And I think what's so inspiring to me is that she hasn't stayed in one genre. She's done it all. And I think to have that opportunity to collaborate with someone like her, whether it's I get to perform with her or we get to write a song together, or even if I just got to talk to her about music and songwriting, I feel like I would just learn a lot. And the one thing that I love about her music, and this is why a lot of people, especially people around my age, love her music, is because of her lyrics and because of how relatable they are and her storytelling. And I've always found so much comfort in her music, and that that really inspires me. And that's why every lyric that I write is very important to me, because I want my audience to feel that same comfort that her music and other artists' music and art in general has made me feel.
Oh, yes. And looking back to your career, is there any experience, that you especially remember?
There have been a lot of memorable moments so far throughout my career, but I would say that a moment that I will never forget is when I put out my first song this past year, my Christmas song, When Christmas Is With You. The response that I received from that was just so beautiful. And I never expected so many people to listen to it. Like and when people started asking me, "Oh, when's your next song coming out?" Like that,
Oh, yes.
felt like it was kind of like I felt kind of like a little bit of pressure in a way, because I was like, "Oh, I really want to write something that's, really really good, but also really impactful and very, inspiring." And but I think the response from that, I'll never forget it, because it was my first song I ever put out. And regardless of what happens to me in my career, I'll never forget it.
Wow, beautiful.
Gracias. What's your opinion about the current music scene around the world?
I think that having distributors like DistroKid, that's what I put my music through to put out. I think that because of social media, it's made it more accessible. What I really love about the music industry now is that because of the accessibility, I mean, think about it. You're all the way in Spain, and I wouldn't have had that opportunity for you to listen to my music. Whereas, artists in the past, in order to grow their fan base, they would have to basically travel a lot. They would have to go to different venues and play different places. And yes, you still have to do that in order to, gain your following. But it's made it, I guess, a little more easier in a way. But I would say, like, the downside of that a lot of people have said is that it makes it more competitive, because I think I read somewhere that there's like thousands upon thousands of people uploading to Spotify every single day. But I don't really view it in that way, because there's so much music out there and not everybody's the same. And I think that everybody has their own unique voice, and the music that I put out, that it's my music, like no other artist is going to sound like me, because it's me, just like other artists aren't going to sound like other artists. And I think that it's amazing that there's so much music being produced, because it's really shown me that music is such a universal language, and it's something that can really unite us all.
Yes. Eric, and to conclude on digital impact, Eric, or the question?
No.
Okay.
And to conclude, would you mind to send a message to the audience that is watching you right now?
Thank you so, so much for all of your love and support and encouragement and all your comments and messages to me, and for listening. I feel so grateful. I can't believe it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
thank
that's
you.
all.
Thank you.
It was
thank
so
you.
nice sitting down with you today.
Thank you.
I was going to say, thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate you reaching out about meeting today. Thank
you for you. Nice to meet you, Melanie. And you have a beautiful future as a singer and an actress. And thank you again. Thank you very much. Until the next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.